Hello everyone and welcome back for our civics session. I hope all are fit and fine at home. So let's begin with our session. So before we start with our civics lesson, I would just like to recap a few things what we have already done in class 6. So in class 6 we have discussed about what is government. We've also discussed that what are the different types of government like democracy, monarchy, dictatorship and so on. We've also discussed certain functions of the government, like why do we need government, what are the different functions, and then we also have seen the levels of government. So let's quickly recap the levels of government. So here we go. There are three levels of government in India. First, the local government. So in class 6, we have learnt about the local government, that is the Panchayati Raj. In the rural areas, Gram Sabha, Panchayat Samiti, and Zilla Parishad, right? And then in the urban areas, we have discussed about something which is known as municipal council and a municipal corporation. Then we have the next level, that is the state level. So this year we are going to focus on state level of the government. And finally, we have the central government or the national government, but we also call it as the union government. So this year, as I said, we'll focus more on state government, and the central government you will be learning next year. So as mentioned, we have discussed the facts that government works at three levels, that is local, state and national. And we have also seen at the work of the local government related to the Panchayati Raj. Now, in this chapter, we will learn about the functioning of state government, who is MLA, then we learn about the legislative assembly, and finally the working of the government. So with this note, let's start with our lesson. And the name of our lesson is How the State Government Works. We begin with part 1 today. Before we actually start with our points that I have mentioned earlier, we will start with a short story or a comic story with the title Whose Responsibility? Now there were two friends and who were just reading certain news articles from the newspaper in the library. So as they were going through the news articles, they found that in some areas due to shortage of water or due to supply of unclean water, people were falling sick. And in one of the areas, there was an acute diarrhea epidemic and there were no beds left in the hospitals for the treatment of the patients. And then they were thinking that whose responsibility is this? And then one of the girl also mentions that in the news channel, when the news were getting broadcasted, when I was watching news, I just heard some area is also facing death of people because of the diarrhea issue. And then the other one says, oh, I pray I don't get infected because of that. And yes, it's a common human tendency when we hear about such epidemics or the present day pandemic situation, we always pray to God that yes, I, my family, and my friends or my close ones should not get infected with it. And maybe those who have already got that infection, they must be cured soon. Or we also pray that we should get a proper vaccine so that this particular virus could be eradicated from the society, right? So similar way, there was a discussion going on. And after the discussion, now when they are about to move back to their home, on the way riding the bicycle, they just happened to discuss that my mother has instructed me not to have any iced drinks on the way because the city or this town is facing a diarrhea epidemic and we don't know which kind of water is used to make that particular ice drink. So they just laugh and move ahead. As they move, they see a lot of crowd in front of someone's house. And yes, there is also the police force for the security purposes. So she thinks, yes, one of the girls says, why the people have surrounded the house of the MLA? So the other answers, maybe he must have done something. And then the police person says, it may also happen that he has not done anything, right? Because when these people come for campaigning during the election processes, what happens? They are always promising us to do some or the other good for the society or for your colony or your area. But by some reason, if they are not able to do, this kind of situations start arising. And one person was talking over the mic in a very loud and an angry voice that it is not always that the authorities should come up and take the decisions about the public health. It is also the responsibility of the MLA who was elected by these people. And then the girls stop to listen to it, and one of them says that he is speaking so loud. And then the other one says, yeah, I know him. I have seen him in the television that day. He seems to be some of the leaders. And then, yes, there is a pause. So, all the people who were gathered near the residence of the MLA, maybe they were worried of some wrong deed or some promises which was not kept by the MLA, and so they were asking the answer to that MLA. Like now the health situation was going worse, so what are the steps as an MLA you are going to take? Right? But now, do you think it is the whole and sole responsibility of the MLA or how people are holding him responsible? So who is this MLA actually? Right? So let's see. So MLA is a member of Legislative Assembly. Now members of Legislative Assembly or the MLAs are elected by we, the common people, right? And then they become the members of the assembly and they form the government. Now, what is the role of MLAs in the government? Yes, obviously, I said they are a part of government that makes laws, maybe for countries and states. So, MLAs, as we know them, those are the Amdars, which we elect from our different constituencies or different areas. So, now first let us see what is a constituency and then we discuss the rest of the points. So to start with, yes, this is the map of our country where you see it is the political map and we have all the states marked on it along with the union territories. So now if we take a particular state, say for example we take Himachal Pradesh. So now in Himachal Pradesh, we have so many different towns, cities, villages, right? So everything cannot be taken care by a single person or a single small group who will work for the entire state. So for that we need, so the state is divided into different small areas according to the number of voters or according to the population. Fine. And then those smaller areas which are there in a state, they are known as constituencies. So a country is divided into states and union territories. Further, the states are divided into constituencies from which one representative is elected per constituency. So in one constituency, there may be 4 to 5 or more political party members who are contesting the elections. But then only one representative gets elected as an MLA from that constituency. So as mentioned in our textbook, let us take an example of Himachal Pradesh, which has 68 constituencies. Now let's see the map. So here we have the map which shows 68 constituencies of Himachal Pradesh. And yes, a definition. Constituency is a group of voters in a specified area who elect representative to a legislative body. So legislative body is nothing else other than the law making body, so that is the government. So each constituency gives one representative to the legislative body, and these are the different constituencies of Himachal Pradesh. You can see they have numbered it 1, 2, 3, 4. So according to the area or the population, they have divided Himachal Pradesh into 68 constituencies. So now, just for a quick homework for every one of you, can you take up a challenge to find out how many constituencies do we have in Maharashtra? So I hope you all have understood whatever I have told you today. So what all things have we discussed? Just a quick recap. We have discussed the short comic story, whose responsibility, right? Then we have discussed who is an MLA and who elects the MLA, and after election, what is the function of the MLA. And finally, we have discussed that a state is divided into different constituencies, and from each constituency, we the people elect the common people elect our own representative, and who is known as an MLA, and then he becomes a part of our lawmaking body. So that is all from my side for today. Till we meet for the next time, stay healthy, stay safe.